gentlemen, it's Freedom Phil. And this channel is not for your kids. You're a parent, you're just mindless stuff on the internet, then you are a bad parent. I swear I talk about views and I'm opinionated. What am I talking about right now? What if you could have your actual dream job? And I'm talking something realistic, not like, oh, I want to be the next Ron Jeremy, or I want to be a billionaire, blah, blah. Okay, whatever. I'm talking about, like, there's a lot of people that there actually is jobs that they actually are passionate about, but the reality is their passion project just doesn't pay. It doesn't pay enough to really, look at it and go, okay, well, I can live off that. And so we get to the real problem, the heart of the problem of it. And by the way, Freedom Phil, like and subscribe. Let's get into it. And hey, turn up the video speed. Why do I say that? Because I watch the video faster if I decide to upload it. Most of the problem with your life is the way it's structured. To say that people are thinking individuals is kind of an overstatement, to be honest with you. Most people are programmed by society. Cars, clothes, crap, image, and all of that comes at a price. We all know this. And the price could be paid in full, cash. But most people just choose credit. And why do they choose credit? Because it's easier at the time. And for that, you give up a piece of your future. It's kind of like if you have an energy drink, you got the energy now, but if you don't keep on paying the toll, the next day you're like, man, I'm sluggish. Like an energy drink hangover. Sometimes I have that even with coffee. I've often talked about minimalism, and I know there's nothing sexy about it. When I've said before, say it again, retirement by 30 or 7 to 10 years, that's not a joke. It's not a joke at all. Just live as cheap as possible in the early game. As early as possible, you get out there and learn a trade. You learn that trade. If you're in high school and you could be learning to be a plumber, an electrician, an accountant, working towards that CPA or whatever, you're learning something that actually has value in the real world. And then you live effectively as cheap as possible for a handful of years. And the reason you do this is because, frankly, I don't know how to put this here. All the flashy crap that you waste your time and life on is mostly going to be trash. That nice little sports car in your youth that you pay how much per month in interest, those restaurants that you're showing off in pictures, we went to such and such, that you're buying on credit, or you make good money, but you're just pissing away pretty much all of it. You're just doggy paddling through life. The greatest steakhouse in the world still turns into a turd. As where the money that you invest when you're young, that's why I say minimalism. I don't care whether you got to live with your parents, you got to live and do van life, or a tent in someone's back. I don't care how you figure it out. When I choose to work, I generally drive truck. For the years that it's still around, I'll be doing that. Probably next spring, because why the hell would I want to drive in the middle of winter? Hey, I got to go back and be fresh meat because I've been out of the industry for a few years. I might as well do it when it's nice. But what I'm getting at with this is that you do this hero's journey in your youth. And effectively, instead of paying, people, let me give you the raw numbers of the lowest I think I can get it down to. We're talking $15 a month for laundry, $30 a month for unlimited internet, cell phone. Let's see, what was it? Under $25 a month for auto insurance from a van. And what was the other one? Maybe $20 a month once I'm stationary somewhere, once I found a place. Maybe $10 to $20 a month for gas. Now, that's just the most base. And they say, what about food? I hit up food banks. But you could let's just, instead of 100, let's just round up to 300 and say you buy a few video games here and there, used, of course. And you go and you have a little alcohol or whatever you have. You have a little fun. Because, you need to keep yourself sane. If you do these things and you're living effectively, especially if you're a truck driver, any job where you can live on site or work from home, it's a bonus. I'm going to tell you exactly why. Let's say you're making $25 an hour, and each way, in order to make sure you're on time, you're effectively giving the world an hour of your life each way. So that's $50 a day times 5 days. That's 250 additional dollars you have to pay each week for your rent, or it's money you just didn't get paid. And then add in the car payment, then add in the insurance for the new vehicle, then add in, the time, and you realize you've given somewhere around these new vehicles of what they want for a car payment is just ridiculous. You've effectively given up, I'd say probably 25,000 a year. If look at my vehicle. And let's say Honey Poo has a vehicle too, whether how much she drives, whether she's a stay-at-home mom or, let's just say she works too. So just add up the numbers, then add up the interest rates for the houses. It's still the average mortgage rate right now is still 6% fixed rate. It's above 6%. That's goddamn insane. But you add up, like, say, $500,000 on 30-year mortgage at 6%, that's 30 grand, poof, gone the first year. It's stupid the way things are planned out. You're taught to think in reverse. So the whole concept of you doing your dream job, well, that's just a fantasy for most people because they were taught to think in reverse. Your school system was taught to waste your time. Your K through 12 education leaves you less prepared than someone who walks across the border. Imagine if you came out with a trade, not at 18, but maybe 16. I sometimes, it seems a shame to me when I see these kids, they sit there and they're on the Nintendo Switch. I love some video games. I love video games. I generally think I don't have enough time to play them. But they're staring at the screen. They're staring at the video games. And at the same amount of time, they could be learning something valuable. I'm not saying don't have some respite, some rest time to enjoy. But imagine your kid was ready to be certified. And that's another thing that really needs to change in the society. Like, if I can do all the plumbing and electrician's work and all that on my house, if I can do all of that myself and the inspector comes through and looks at it, make sure it all looks good, and then it's certified. So why is it I can do it all on my own house, but I can't be paid to do it on someone else's house? Now, if I can do it all to that level, why not make it easier for these people in America to get certified? So you don't have to be someone else's goon for, effectively 4 years in order to become a certified trade plumber. We put these artificial speed bumps. So that actually comes into where we get into college. Like, vast majority of people's degrees are useless. I'm sorry, but a lot of you went to college for bullshit. No work, no math, no science, BS that will not make you money. We can, as humans are pain adverse. Let me put it like this. And a lot of the reason a lot of people don't want to do the trades is like, well, that sounds like work. So they go to college, but then they don't want to put the work in college. And then they end up with this huge amount of debt. And of course, because they've been probably putting it all on credit, they pass it on to the next stage where maybe the first year after college, they're having a little hard time getting themselves established. But then sooner or later, wife, kids, marriage, whatever. And you have an entire lifestyle where it's likely, statistically likely, that you will end up divorced. You will lose X amount of years of your time working. Your job's not going to pay you what you need. And all because your cost of living is so fucking high. But what if you took it in the other direction? Wild thought here. What if you were a minimalist from the very beginning? What if you were getting that trade in high school? What if you were ready to rock and roll at 16? I mean, I think 14 you should be able to go out and make real money. You should be able to invest when you're young. And I'm not going to tell you what to invest in, but hey, Warren Buffett said, when the S&P outperforms most investors on average, you make $100,000 and you're making 10% per year on that's $10,000. Well, I'm capable of living off less than $5,000 a year. And I'm happy. And that's all that matters to me. I'm happy. As far as this grand illusion of society, and by the way, the reason I refer to society as just one giant illusion is there is no brotherly love. There is just you generally versus the world. If you're a woman, Obviously, men want to help you so they can help themselves to you, and women want men around so they can help themselves to the money. But when you think about it from a whole different standpoint of it, like if the world's not going to be around to do anything for you unless they can get something out of you, then in the same token, why would you put more money, effort, and time to peacock for a bunch of people that inevitably will leave you? They'll inevitably, everybody will have their own problems, and that's understandable. But why would you waste your money and time doing that? And why? Because you were trained to do it. You were trained to think in reverse. As were the minimalist that's investing when they're young. If you're making, say, a 80 to 100K driving a truck and you live in a state with no state income tax or plumbing, electrician, whatever, I don't care. It's not going to take that many years of investing, living as absolutely cheap as possible for you to be at the point where you're making anywhere from 5 to 10 times what you need to live each year. If you're making $50,000 passively in the system, what do you call it? The investing. And you got some gold and silver to hedge against other things. And of course, you keep a little bit of cash here and there, and just in case opportunities show up. And you're making 50 grand a year from investments. You really got to put that in perspective for a second. You're about 5K to 10K or whatever. And you're making 50K. Your money will keep on making you more and more money. At that point, we come back to the whole concept of what job would you like to do? If you wanted to work at that point, if you had a passion project, if you liked volunteering, if you liked working in the national parks, or you happen to, you're a carpenter, or maybe you're a small-time engine mechanic, small engines, like 2-stroke little motorcycles and 4-stroke. Maybe you're a guy who loves chainsaws and likes working on those, Maybe you just like gardening, Maybe you want to be somebody that works at a nursery. You have a passion for plants. Because you have already locked down a successful life in 7 to 10 years, you then can basically enjoy the rest of your life. And if you choose to work, you don't have to work all the time. You don't have to make the top money, because being a minimalist means, like when people talk about the poverty range and they say 30 grand a year, and that is poverty in America. But then I'm a guy who can live off of 5K a year or less. That leaves me 25,000 just to fart around with. What's the funniest thing about it is, that a lot of people just never figure out, is they have this outlook as far as things go, what is life? What is living? What is this? And I don't think most people have ever really just sat down and just really thought about, do I need that car? Do I need that house in that neighborhood? Do I need this? Do I need the granite countertops? Do I need all this crap? Or am I convinced? And this is kind of the joke. Men, if we could get away with, what was it, Chappelle or Chris Rock, I can't remember which one. If men could get pussy living in a cardboard box, that's as far as we would go. It's all this other crap we do is for women. But the statement about women is that it's one of those things where, what do women want? Well, they want more. But what do they particularly want? Whatever other women want. And then men try to do the best to get those things for them. So that's where I find it kind of funny when I look at society and I'm like, what do women want? Well, what enough women say that they want, but basically what the TV tells them. Your hair needs to look this way. Your lashes need to look this way. Your car needs to be of this style. All this fucking shit. More. Endlessly. And inevitably, that is what you'll piss away your lives for. You could be working the dream job if you want, if you did what I said earlier. Moreover, you teach your kids such simple things. Self-completion. Being satisfied with yourself. Being satisfied with what you can do for yourself. But no, most of you you'll do the normie dance and you'll try to peacock. It's Freedom Phil. Y'all have a great day. Take it easy. Peace.